I enjoyed Assassin's Creed Mirage when it first came out. I thought the level design and scale really lent itself to a more classic feeling AC game. Since its release, they've further updated the game with most notably an improved parkour system through enhanced side and back ejects and a recently added manual jump. On top of that, they released a free story DLC with an entirely new map, so there wasn't a better time for me to jump back into Mirage and check it all out. Before jumping into the DLC story, I have to say the parkour really does feel great. Because Baghdad is constructed of simple, densely packed buildings, you can comfortably parkour around the map and it usually understands your intentions, which makes it a perfect game to fire up while listening to a podcast or half watching a basketball game, as it's fun to just parkour around. Now, jumping into the DLC, and spoilers for Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Mirage. The DLC starts with Basim getting a lead on his father, who abandoned him when he was little. Dervis, Basim's friend and foster figure, comes across a stolen painting. The painting resembles Basim's brooch and depicts Basim's childhood home. This painting was likely painted by Basim's father. As I mentioned, Basim's father left him at a young age, so any potential lead to his whereabouts and condition grasped Basim's attention. The painting came from the valley of Alula, so that is where Dervis and Basim set out to go. Basim hopes to find his father alive and well, but at least hoping to find a grave. And so they set off, and Basim acquires some fire new drip. When we get to Alula, there's a camp set up with every merchant you need, and our first mini quest, where Basim invents the idea of having milk with coffee.
Its true flavor unfolds with time. Perhaps a touch of milk might temper its edge. Preposterous!
These tales of Alula are pretty cool. They're fun interactions that add to the world and take up very little of your time. Our main quest asks Basim to meet Dervis at a cemetery to see if there lies his father's grave. When searching the graves, you get some good dialogue with Dervis, who tells Basim about his father and reminds the player on what their relationship and backstory is.
You recall the day my father was exiled?
Your father was a good man.
The day my father left me with you. That moment has stayed with me ever since.
You can threaten a man, plunder his goods, torture his flesh, even take his life. But his soul is his own. No one can seize that.
Shout out to Lee Majub. I liked his performance as Basim in the main game, and that continues throughout the DLC. While searching for graves, Basim comes across a woman mourning her late husband and decides to walk her home. The woman's name is Hind, and she and Basim bond over the family they have lost.
Forgive me if I am being too forward, but I assume your husband's passing was recent?
He has been gone 3 days. Though he had been ill for a long time.
It's here that I'm also reminded how good Mirage's soundtrack is. It fits the theme of the game so well and has some memorable notes that stuck with me even years after the game's release, like this part. When Hind and Basim arrive at Hind's home, it's under attack by thieves, and she requests Basim to save a portrait of her husband. Obviously, these bandits are no trouble for Basim, and he even saves a woman who will appear later in the story to return the favor. Basim then escorts Hind to Nimlot's house, who is a wealthy merchant who can provide shelter to Hind and her children. Nimlot and Basim meet and have a conversation, where Basim aura farms for the full duration of it. They discussed what is likely the most iconic assassination from Mirage and how Nimlot witnessed the aftermath of it. I'll play some of that conversation now. Great voice work on both ends.
You are one of them. I am no threat, though I am aware of your kind. My apologies, but I am in a state of abject terror being in your presence.
I would have guessed mere nervousness.
I was in the city on that day. I did not witness the deed, but saw the aftermath. A throat slit, carcass hanging from a balcony.
The man you speak of was Mas'ud al-Yaqub. It was a righteous kill.
I must take your word for it.
Basim thinks the robbers who robbed Hind may have been the ones to rob his father's painting, so Nimlot points Basim to the most popular market where he may continue his search. Near the market, I found another open world activity that involved eavesdropping on folklore. Obviously, the Assassin's Creed franchise is built on building their game around a real history, and it's cool folktales like this that remind you how much rich history exists in all parts of the world.
Yamama, the blue-eyed seer of the Jadis. She stood watch upon the southern plains, and it was said she could spy riders a week's journey away.
I also found an enigma. These were present in the base game and direct you to some treasure via a picture or a riddle. But unlike the base game, I had no clue where these enigmas were. If I recall, a lot of the enigmas you find would usually have their destination nearby, but for this DLC, they were everywhere. So I think I only found 2 or 3 myself. The open world also brings back the black flag running away music sheets that, unless you fail them, are pretty fun, usually taking you through a cool parkour route. There was also another mini mission here that gave me a Diet Witcher style moral choice regarding a woman who killed her own father because he intended to marry her off against her will. Like the first Tale of Alula mission, these extremely short interactions were decently memorable, which is impressive seeing how small they are. Back to the main story, Basim sees a robber who he decides to trail, a classic AC tailing mission. Kinda nostalgic in a way. But unlike the original tailing missions, where losing your target resulted in instant failure, I was able to use my Loki powers and connection to my bird Enkidu to relocate my target. Unfortunately, Basim was led into a trap, and forgets he can spam smoke bombs on the ground to instantly kill everyone. So Basim is brought to jail in what is the most memorable mission of the DLC for me. You get a real sense of being imprisoned, as you must rest and eavesdrop multiple times in order to gather information and plan your escape. The girl we saved from Hin's house also returns and plans to repay Basim for saving her by poisoning the guards while he escapes. We also learned that the warden of this prison is using the prisoners to test various concoctions, including testing it on our neighboring cellmate who he had a brief connection with. And then, what can only be explained as Aesir magic from Loki himself, Basim is able to call his bird Enkidu and direct it to find the key to his cell door and deliver it to him, which Enkidu does. Wild.
Where have you gone, Enkidu? If you still draw breath, I would welcome your help. I should have known you would find me. If only you could aid me. The key to my cell. It is somewhere in this forsaken place. Thank you, my friend. I can always count on you.
So we open our door and begin our escape. I like missions that lock you out of all your gear and make you work with what you have. Where normally you could spam throwing knives and smoke bombs to your heart's content, successfully sneaking out of the prison involves carefully looting your surroundings and making every shot count to dispatch the guards blocking your path as efficiently as possible. Replaying this mission with the animus sequences feature that adds optional objectives, such as never being seen and escaping in under 7 minutes and 30 seconds, really amplifies this mission that much more. But alas, we sneak our way through the prison and assassinate the warden, but not without getting poisoned by a final attack.
As one.
Basim stumbles away from the prison and is rescued by Darvis. Basim now has a new lead, the Oasis. Once mentioned by a neighboring prisoner in the jail, and now by Darvis, this Oasis could be the home of Basim's father. But before that, Basim plays some music. We then travel to the Oasis, where Basim does find the home of his father. However, it has been robbed by bandits and his father's nowhere to be seen. Throughout the house, there are various things to interact with that bring Basim memories of his childhood and father.
I made this for you.
Thank you, Father.
You like?
It is the best toy ever. I want to make toys like this when I grow up.
And it reminded me of just how tragic the tale of Basim is. A young boy who grew up with many struggles, who then found purpose in the Assassin's Order, only to be taken over by the consciousness of Loki through a selfish act to achieve immortality. While rummaging around, the Kalfati guard arrives, and Basim overhears them discussing the true base of the robbers and Basim's next lead. Fortunately, without being nerfed by a cutscene, Basim can spam smoke bombs and dispatch legions of enemies with ease. It's here I'll mention how cool the assassin focus ability is. The way it doubles as a traversal ability, the cool glitching effect, it's a really neat power to have. And the lore reason of the animus not being able to process how quick Basim's movements are, I think is a fun explanation for its existence. We then reach the large base of the robbers and meet the most helpful and trusting prisoner of all time. He reveals to Basim that Nimlot is in fact the leader of these bandits, which explains how he became so rich. This prisoner also draws a picture of Nimlot's base's location and instructs us on how to use their secret whistle to get in, all before Basim even unlocks the cage he's still trapped in. What a guy. So of course, I hold up my end of the bargain and free him, and it's off to face Nimlot. This is a full-scale open-ended mission that offers various entry points, a disguise, and many guards. I decided to use 12 of my 79 merchant favor tokens to bribe my way in as an unassuming servant, helping to bring some supplies to the base. This got me past the first gate, but to get into the inner compound, I decided to go with the disguise route and play as an astrologer. It didn't go as smoothly as I would have wanted. But luckily, because the way the guards are spread out, I still managed to get to the skies and fool some more guards to get even closer to Nimlot.
Open this door at once!
Unfortunately, after saving this guy and learning where the key to Nimlot's tower was, I alerted every single guard in the game. But was still able to hide from them long enough to sneakily enter Nimlot's tower and confront him face to face. In our confrontation with Nimlot, we learned that it was Nimlot's father who Basim killed in the most fantastic way. And to my surprise, Nimlot actually captures Basim's father alive and plans to kill him in front of Basim for revenge. Unfortunately for Nimlot, he believes that Basim, a master assassin who can teleport, won't be able to close a 3-foot gap before he can close a 15-foot gap to kill his father, even if it's the last thing he does. So obviously, Basim easily closes the gap and kills Nimlot before his father can be harmed, and Basim can now finally reunite with his father after so many years. But sadly, over time, Basim's father has grown old and confused, and does not recognize Basim at all. I really like the acting between Basim and his father, so I'll simply show more than I'll explain.
Are you looking for your father, young man? I do not think he is here. I do not like this place. I must go.
Basim and his father escape Nimlot's base and now camp in the desert together.
You do not smile much, young man. That thing. Where did you get it?
In Samara.
Why has Samara changed so much?
What do you remember of Samara? Of home?
I have lived here all my life. But now, the Khalifa says that I must go to another place. No coming back.
What of your son?
Yes. Basim. That is his name. He is my son.
Basim's emotional maturity here is off the charts. He immediately understands that there's no point trying to convince his father that he is his son. Basim's father is stuck in the past, still worrying for his little boy as if he left him only a week ago. Basim chooses to spend what he knows to be a small amount of time with his father, not as a son desperate for his father to recognize him and berate with stories, but as a simple friend who cares.
My son, he has a future. I have none.
Why not tell him this?
He is too young. He cannot understand.
Basim's father wishes to see an old tomb he always wanted to visit, and Basim is happy to take him there. We're treated to more beautiful music and then a walking sequence where Basim listens to his father speak very fondly of his late mother, ever so slightly pushing his father to remember as much as he can.
Stories.
My father once read those same stories to me. Do you want to see the sunrise from near the tomb? It will be just like Alula. I can take you there. We will go together.
Good.
Do you remember your wife?
Wife? I have no wife. Not since Basim's mother.
Tell me about her. Who was she?
Eyes like the bluest sky in winter, and her smile. Basim inherited my looks, but the way he smiles, that belongs to his mother.
I found the sequence very touching. It's sad but nice that they are able to spend time together and laugh, as old friends would. A really beautiful sequence with very heartfelt dialogue.
The great pyramids of muscle.
Imagine scaling their heights and gazing out over endless sands.
Truly, none have dared such a feat.
One day, I shall journey to Constantinople, and you will be with me in my heart.
What is that you say? Your heart?
Ah, it is nothing.
Basim, the one who smiles. He is a good boy. He will grow into a fine man one day. It is time. I must go. I will not be coming back. Tell my little Basim. Tell him one day, when his time comes, we will be together again. Until then, he has a life to live. Tell him that, if you see him.
I will tell him.
So, you have a smile after all.
Basim's father then departs with a very touching send-off, and Basim likely stealthily trailed his father and ensured he was comfortable in his final resting. Basim then returns to Darvis with sad yet comforting news. He found his father, but he was an echo of the man he once knew. Basim remarks he is happy to have faced his past and looks forward to the future and to becoming the man he is destined to be. And I almost wonder if this whole journey was a favor from Loki in a way, to allow Basim to be at peace with his past life as their consciousnesses soon become one. But I like how it's not entirely clear. The events of this DLC come before the final mission of Mirage, as in Kidu, Basim's bird, still recognizes him for himself before Loki truly emerges, but you're really not entirely sure. With the Valley of Memory story complete, I decided to 100% the DLC. There were the usual enjoyable side missions, clearing camps, collecting various things. I helped a guy do some game testing for a cool outfit. And as I mentioned before, I struggled with doing the engrams, but got them all done in the end. I tried to solve as much as I could on my own, and even when I used the internet, I would just search for as many hints as necessary. There was a mission with some students who had pretty creative imaginations that was kind of funny.
Your student said the etching was of an animal giving birth. A cow to a 5-legged calf.
Who said this? Which one? It was Yusuf, wasn't it? That son of a donkey.
And I even played music for 10 minutes in real life for a Ubisoft achievement. All in all, Alula was beautiful to explore. Turning off the HUD and just taking in the vast deserts and music was really nice. Mirage as a whole is a cool throwback style AC game that has a cool story, fun stealth, and a well-designed world to parkour in. And the free Valley of Memory DLC was a great reason to return to it. I thank you for watching and take care.